Welcome to the Wed Pro podcast, the podcast for Wed Pros no matter their stage. We are your hosts, Katie and Roxy, and this is the Wed Pro podcast.
Okay, I just need to say it. This back to school week has been absolutely brutal, not gonna lie.
I can confirm I feel the same. Honestly, I feel like I've literally ran 3 marathons. The uniform, forgotten lunch boxes, forgotten PE kit, the school admin.
I know.
And then you're still trying to run a business. Like, what the frick?
I know, right? And last week we were all like, yay, September, new season, let's get the buzz back. And although, yeah, we do have the buzz, but also, oh my word, I'm tired. Life sometimes, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes you're smashing the business goals and sometimes you're sat surrounded by half-labelled jumpers thinking, I cannot do this anymore. I did not order my daughter's correct PE kit because she told me I didn't need to. And I was like, yeah, wicked. I ain't going to think about that then. Obviously, she needs the PE kit. Didn't even think about it. So we've had PE kit drama like first day back. But it's all done. But there was a point where I was like, I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah, if you're listening now feeling absolutely shattered, I know I am. You are not on your own. We're in it with you. But we are going to jump into a big topic today, a topic that comes up quite a lot for us with our clients. We're talking all about ghosting.
Now, this is the bane of every single wedding supplier's life. And we get it too. You know, you get the inquiry, you reply, you get all excited, and then tumbleweed happens.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? What's happening isn't that all of your couples are flaky or rude. What's happening when we really break it down is a funnel problem, and that is fixable.
Exactly. Couples are smart. They are spending thousands on their weddings. They want clarity, quick replies, and to feel safe in booking you. And if you don't give them that, they are just going to move on.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking you through the data, and then we're also going to be taking you through a framework that we teach inside of our programs, how to spot where leads are dropping out, how to fix that first touch and that first impression when a couple does inquire with you, and how to follow up in a way that actually gets bookings.
Let's dive into it. Right, so let's start with the data. The average UK wedding in 2024 costs around £23,000. So that's basically the price of a new car. Do you know, I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah, and when you're spending that kind of money, and think about it, when you do think about buying a brand new car, you don't just pick the first car that you see in Auto Trader or online, do you? And it's the same in the wedding industry. You don't just pick the first supplier you see or, come across on Instagram. You shop around. Couples are sending multiple inquiries. Sometimes we see you hitched 10 at once. Tabs open. They're comparing suppliers like absolute crazy.
Absolutely. So if your reply takes 48 hours and another photographer gets back to them within 2 hours with a clear package, guess who's going to win?
Yeah, and that's, I suppose, why ghosting feels personal in the wedding industry, but it isn't. We don't want you to think it like that. It's just your funnel. So your process is not meeting your client's expectations.
The Zola 2025 report said 68% of couples are using social media to find suppliers. That means they're already comparing you side by side with others that are in your niche. And the Wed Pros 2024 report, couples often feel underwhelmed once they actually inquire. And I find that quite damning, actually, but it really does explain a lot.
Yeah, it does. And I think we've been saying this for a while, haven't we? Like on some of the masterclasses that we teach, in terms of one of the major reasons why you're getting ghosted is because you sound the same as everybody else. And really having that, congratulations on your engagement introduction isn't helping you stand out from everybody else. And that really does fit into this kind of couples feeling overwhelming, right?
It does.
Okay, so let's have a look at what is going on in your replies to your couples and in that process in terms of where you're trying to get that initial inquiry over the line and saying yes to booking you. Let's turn those inquiries into yeses and really help you to diagnose really what's going on in your own process.
So one of the very first things that we set up with our clients is a tracking system where inquiries come from, how fast the replies are going out, how many people actually respond, and how many then go on to book. And honestly, we recommend every single one of you out there listening start to do this.
Yeah, because when you start to look at data, and I am known for being a bit of a data geek, and I never used to be, by the way, but actually, once you get into the practice of collecting it and looking at it, data doesn't lie, and you can see where and when ghosting's happening, and then we can look at why. Maybe they're dropping off because you didn't reply quickly enough. Maybe your pricing wasn't clear enough. Maybe they opened your proposal, but they never came back. And we can really see where things in that process aren't working as smoothly when we break it down like that.
And when couples are sending inquiries, they are looking for the right signals. They're looking for the speed of the reply, transparency, proof that you are legit. And with this tracking, the data can show you where those signals are missing in your funnel.
Yeah, and some of you might be thinking, but I don't want to be glued to my phone 24/7, and you don't have to be. This is really important as to why you have the correct systems set up, and systems don't need to be absolutely scary at all. I've been finishing, well, the book is finished. It's gone over to the editors. I actually got their first draft back yesterday. I need to sit and reread the whole book now and look at that draft, which I'm so excited about, not. But it's really exciting for you guys, but I've read this a number of times now and I've got to go through it again. But one of the chapters I really wanted to put in there and break down was all around, systems don't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be operating systems. It doesn't even have to mean it's CRM. It's just a way you do things. That is a system. Being organized, having a plan for something is a system. Deciding you're going to check your emails at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. is a system. And this next thing that I want you to think about, again, is a system. Auto replies, having something like an auto reply in and having the right sort of messaging in there is really important. But if you don't start tracking and you think, I don't have time for this, you're not going to know where to fix things unless you actually do start to track and look at the data and we track our leads, don't we? We have, we know where they've inquired, what stage of the process they're in. And it really helps you as well, not only to diagnose this element and to have a little look at where people are falling off, but also you've got a list of people that have inquired, people that have shown interest, taken that first step with you to go back to and follow up with. And we'll come to following up in a minute.
Yeah. And I think exactly like you said there, it doesn't have to be all bells, all whistles, singing and dancing system, just something, a simple spreadsheet. Even if you start in your notes in your phone or you start writing it down, it's just about getting yourself into a regular pattern of doing something. And that's what a system is. That's when you can start tracking things and you can start seeing the gaps, because it doesn't just go from inquiry to them saying yes. There's a whole process that needs to happen. And if you're not looking at every point of that, you are missing a trick.
Okay, let's talk about that first touch, that first point, that first message, because this is where most ghosting starts, isn't it? And we touched upon this a minute ago in terms of making sure you're not sounding like everybody else, but that's just the first part of the puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah, and pricing is the biggie, and transparency does really matter here. But couples are always naturally going to want some sort of ballpark kind of figure. And if you're bespoke, absolutely do not panic at this point. You can say things like, typically, from what you're asking, clients would spend around this amount, or packages start from this amount, show an example of options, but it sets an expectation without them boxing you in completely.
Yeah, have a think about it. If you're looking for a car and you're going out shopping for a car, you don't do that without having a budget and without having sort of an idea of, price. And I had this yesterday actually. I stupidly filled in one of those freaking things online about solar panels. And, you know, I'm all here for the environment and I'm all here, Roxy's laughing at me already. I'm all here for the environment. I'm all here for, you know, saving a little bit of money on the energy bills. You know, we are in a cost of living crisis going on. However, the phone has rang non-stop. He eventually got hold of me yesterday because he rings at the most awkward. It's probably going to ring while I'm on this podcast, to be honest. He rings at the most awkward times ever. And I was like, oh, you rang me, I'm on the school run. Oh, you rang me, I'm on dinner. So bless him, he's persisted. And he rang me yesterday, I was driving and he was on speaker, so fine. And he would not give me a ballpark price at all. He was like, oh no, we'll come out, there's such a range. And I was like, well, if there's a range, isn't there? So, and he wouldn't give it to me. Now I'm not going to take this any further because I do not want to waste my time or his time sending somebody out, coming and looking, measuring up, when actually it's not in the range that I've got in mind to have solar panels installed, right? Or maybe I can't even afford it. Maybe, the output isn't going to. And I was chuckling at myself because I was like, I can see what you're doing with your sales pitch. You kept on trying to get me to say the easy yes. Like, does that
And
sound
then once you come around my house, that's
That
it.
sound
Because I've
fair?
started like spending time with you and I feel like I'm now committed to this.
Yeah, does that sound fair? He kept on saying, and I was like, yes, but I don't want to waste anyone's. That is going nowhere for me. I've deaded that off. Like, I'll probably block the number today, actually, to be honest, because I haven't got a ballpark figure and I'm not interested. I'm not in the business of wasting my time. And your couples are like this as well. They're busy people, some of them may have children, some of them, most of them will have jobs, careers. Planning a wedding is a task on a long list of other things. And like we said right at the start of this podcast, in terms of school, life in, I've got kids' birthdays this week on top of schools. We've got my daughter's in a show, your daughter does gymnastics. Like, there's a lot of like moving parts to life. And if you're not being transparent and put yourself back in the kind of frame as if you were looking for a service, or whether it be solar panels or a new car or getting married or whatever it is, going to see a show and getting tickets for a show, you want to have kind of a ballpark idea, right? And it acts as a filter as well. If someone's budget is 500 and you start from 2000, you're saving yourself and that client the back and forth. And just as somebody that has now taken 3 calls from this guy that keeps ringing me about these solar panels, I'm over it now because there's just been so much back and forth. And yesterday, when he eventually got me in the call, and actually he's tried hard to get me to kind of on the call because he's kept on ringing me at awkward times, he wouldn't give me a price. And now I'm done. So, he's making it difficult for me to say that next yes step, because if he gave me a range, I've got no idea. It might be actually really affordable, but I have got no idea. And that's what your clients are doing as well.
I bet that's really frustrating. And I can imagine like end user, like, doesn't matter, weddings, solar power, whatever. You need to give them that information.
Yeah, like over 80%. So in the report, and this podcast is all about following the data, over 80% of couples said price was the first thing that they looked at. And the thing is, you don't know who's not inquiring. So there's a whole process here in terms of, okay, the people that are inquiring, how do we then get them to convert? But actually, the people that land on your website and leave without clicking yes to inquiring, you don't know why they haven't inquired. They've liked your stuff enough to come to your website, or they've liked your stuff enough on Instagram to head over to your website or look into more stuff about you. But actually, if they go to your inquiry form and they can't find a price, or there isn't kind of a gauge as to a gauge or a range for them to kind of say, oh, okay, yeah, that suits my budget, or that's what I was expecting. And you don't have to. There are ways that you can, upsell, cross-sell, get on a call with people and explain your value to get them to spend more. It's not a ceiling here at all, but it's just something that your couples are looking for. And you don't know who's not pressing inquire, right? So for the wedding suppliers out there that are like, oh, I don't put my price on my site and, I still get inquiries. Yes, you might do, but maybe you're not getting, you could get more. and you would get more. 80%, the data doesn't lie. And this is why I think I am a fan of data, and the people inside of our programs will know that at least twice a year we're pulling out reports, industry reports, and we're looking and we're following the data, not just trend data, but psychology, what are couples doing.
Numbers don't lie. The data
Numbers,
doesn't lie.
and inquiry data, we're looking at all of it in terms of being then able to make
appropriate changes in your business to keep up with what's going on in the data.
Yeah, like informed choices, informed decisions rather than guesswork.
Yeah, rather than throwing the spaghetti at the wall.
She said it. There we go.
Yeah.
Square box to you for that one.
Let's talk about another biggie, and that is inquiry forms. We have seen our fair share of inquiry forms, haven't we? But it's about getting that balance right. Too many questions and couples are going to abandon it. We don't want, we don't want them writing an essay or needing to think about things too much, too few, and then you're going to be left chasing information. So you've got to find that balance. So we would tell our clients that, you need that information that's going to help you work out if you can do the wedding, and then the rest you can find out at a later date. So you want dates, you're going to want kind of budget, and then how they want to be contacted, because that one is a biggie. And then the rest of this information can come at a later date.
Yeah. Also the venue, don't forget that you want to know that they're in range. But yeah, we have seen a few years ago at WedCon, we did like almost a bit of an audit on the businesses in the room.
It was sneaky.
We just took a cross section, and we also looked at kind of other businesses as well. We did a little bit of a cross section as to how quickly we could get from, your Instagram or TikTok or wherever you were marketing predominantly, whether it was Facebook, to your inquiry form, how many steps you were putting in place. And then also we looked at, how easy it was to kind of fill in that inquiry form. And, I have seen some, ones where I don't even know what I'm meant to write. Tell me about your vision for your day, things like that. Your clients aren't necessarily talking fluffy wedding language. Like maybe they don't have a vision for their day yet. Maybe that's their expectation is that you are to help them with that. This is stuff that makes for great conversations on that consultation call. Exactly. And ways that you can connect and share ideas. But yeah, I've seen ones, and I've worked in this industry for a long time, and I've thought, how do you even want me to answer this? And you don't want it to come across like a test, and sometimes they do.
It almost puts like too much pressure on. I mean, like the box at the bottom, extra information. My mind goes like, what do I need to be telling you here? Is there information that I don't know that I need to know? You just want to make this as easy as possible, because if it's not, they're going to switch off and they'll be on to the next person, and then you've lost that client.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah, keep it simple but smart. Enough to qualify them, but not enough that they're going to get scared off.
Yeah, and then let's just talk a second about auto. Couples are expecting instant acknowledgement that their email has been sent. Again, this week I've had this myself. Could I bloody get some photos to the bloody Max Spielman printer? Could I hell? So then I was like, okay, I've got a nail appointment. Could I email these images over to you? And the lady was like, yeah, no problem. Email them over to me and I'll print them. Well, could I, when I'm sat there having my nails done in a bit of a flap, because at this point, I'm a little bit like late. I'm sat there with my phone in one hand, my nail and being done on my hand being done on the other one. And I'm like, have I spelled Max Spielman correctly? I don't know. Having that auto reply that just comes and says, yes, we've received your email, and something warm would just settle my kind of nerves, sat there thinking, oh my word, I've got to go back, pick this stuff up. I couldn't, it was important that I got these pictures printed for something at the weekend that I'm doing. Yeah. And actually it just kind of made me think about just having that acknowledgement that something's been received. And couples are expecting that, whether it's DMs or whether it's emails. If you can get back within a couple of minutes, and it can come across natural by using something like ManyChat with something warm, clear, and thinking about that next step, so next step focused, you are already building so much more trust and ease than half of the wedding industry.
I have a love-hate relationship with these auto replies. I think they are absolutely fantastic, and this is a strategy you should all be using. But I've seen so many. I spend a lot of time in Instagram DMing our followers, and the amount of auto replies that have literally been created, set up without a thought
You
is
need to
like
be using
it infuriates me because it's just quite a lot of them. I'm just like, I would not reply to that.
you need to be using ManyChat or something like that. Or even, I'm not sure if you can set it up on Instagram and edit them or not. I don't know because we use ManyChat, which
There
you
is a way to edit for
do
sure
it
because everyone's different, but they're still all in the same boat of not really
a bit
strategically
corporate.
planned. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit corporate, a bit impersonal. I think we use ManyChat because ManyChat can come across very, very natural. So you can put in like time delays in there. You can also have automatic messages depending on different triggers, so depending on different words. And it doesn't have to look like years ago when this was first set up and automations were first set up through Instagram, it used to kind of look like a generic message that would come up that would say, "Are you looking for?" And then you would like click between three options, which looks, excuse me, very, very auto reply and very automated. Whereas now it's much more clever and much more natural. And that's definitely what we would recommend. So you can set up things in your voice, you can put in natural pauses, you can put in trigger words. So if somebody says the word date, for example, or wedding or inquiry or whatever it may be, you can have a different response to then maybe somebody that has a different kind of inquiry. Maybe what are your opening hours or something like that. And you can set it so that it doesn't reply straight away. It can have pauses in there. It can send a message and then have a pause, have a natural pause, and then send another message if you haven't had a reply. So it can automatically follow up for you. And we'll talk about follow-ups in a minute. So this is why we do love ManyChat. And if you do want to have a little look at it, we'll pop a link inside the show notes for you to go and check out ManyChat. It is free to set up, so you can go and have a little play with that. But we would definitely recommend.
Absolutely. And it can really reduce that ghosting as well, can't it?
Absolutely. And I think it just goes to show the data does tell us that the wedding suppliers that do reply quickly quite often get the sale. But when I was speaking to our clients about this, when we broke down this report and we kind of looked at what the data was saying, I said it's not just about replying quickly, it's about replying well. So making sure that the content, is there, that it's next step focus, that you're building trust, that you're giving them something to do, thinking about that response as well from your client, what you're asking them to do, what's the next step for them, is going to beat a standard auto reply that's just like, "Thank you for your inquiry. I will get back to you within 2 to 3 days," or whatever it says, 48 hours, which is impersonal, doesn't really say a lot, isn't sticking in your mind at all. Compare that to this person that gives you something to do while you're waiting for your inquiry. And actually, when we look at satisfaction levels and interest levels in a client, and we really break this down even further, when we look at what space a couple is in and how excited they are to have you as part of their wedding, their peak interest is when they send that inquiry, right? They're most likely to envisage you at their wedding when they send that inquiry. Now, if they then wait for 2 days, what's happening is, peak inquiry. And then if we think of it like a little bit of a graph, their interest is kind of falling. You might do a reply and it kind of peaks a little bit again. And then they wait. And then, then you have a call with them and it peaks again. If you can reply quickly, we get spikes much quicker and the spikes stay higher, rather than if it's taking you 48 hours or that your next response is very basic, generic, doesn't really give them that spike of interest because you've not planned the next step for them, you've not given them anything to do. It flatlines. And then when it flatlines, that's when you get ghosting. So it's about keeping those responses short, thinking about getting them to the next step rather than closing the deal very quickly, and also thinking about what is inside of those responses to stop that ghosting.
Speaking of fixing ghosting, this is exactly what we are going to be working on at WedCon 2025, which is just 8 weeks away. I repeat, 8 weeks away.
Yeah, it's on the 26th of November at the Hencote in Shrewsbury, and the lineup is honestly insane. We say it every single year, but every year we bring it bigger and better. So we have Terry Lewis, who's back again this year. We're really excited. He's one of the UK's most in-demand MCs and DJs for the wedding industry. He's a 9 times wedding industry award winner. And also he's been teaching and speaking inside the wedding industry on stages globally now for the past few years. His strategies are great in terms of fixing funnels and also marketing and getting people to that next step as well. He is amazing. And if you've heard Terry speak before or been at the National Industry Awards, he's been a judge there as well, you'll know he is such an amazing guy. Really great strategies that he has in place for wedding suppliers as well, and is just wonderful to talk to. He just shares, he doesn't hold anything back, does he? He's just one of our faves.
Like, obviously, I've done podcasts with all the WedCon speakers, and every one of them has been amazing. But Terry's always just like,
Yeah. Michelle Jacobs, she is an absolute powerhouse planner. Love her story and love how she got into the wedding industry a little bit later, but still managed to build a very successful wedding business inside the luxury market. So she's going to be teaching you strategies all around luxury market and getting into that market. Bernadette Chapman, founder of the UK Association of Wedding Planners, she has taught and supported hundreds, even if not thousands, of wedding planners to grow their business. She is an amazing strategist inside the wedding industry. She is, if you do not go, if you're not on LinkedIn and following her, you're missing a trick. She shares so much valuable information over there. I've got Sajuf Salim. She is an absolute force to be reckoned with inside the wedding industry. She did the decor last year for WedCon. We're really excited to invite her back as a speaker. We know Sajuf for inside a networking community that we were part of a couple of years back, and she has built an incredibly successful business in the luxury space and is also a branding expert as well. She's got so much branding expertise and knowledge in terms of how to position your business. And then we've got the wonderful Joel Stone, who is a marketing strategist and has built a 7-figure business. He runs our ads and his agency runs our ads. And he's going to be there talking to you all about AI, all about ads, and how you can get seen and booked as a wedding business as well. Plus, because if all of those people are not making you think, oh my word, I need to be at WedCon, we've also got Tim from Bougie Music and the team from Eternity, who are going to be showing you the hacks and tools that they're using and bringing into the wedding industry that are literally shaping the wedding industry right now.
And it's not just the talks either. You'll leave with loads of free resources you can use and implement in your business straight away, like email templates to stop ghostings, a gift for every attendee, and proper networking that could lead to your next booking. Plus, it's a real celebration of our industry.
Yeah, every year people are like, oh my word, I love this day. And it really is a day that does change businesses. And we mean it when we say, once tickets are gone, they are gone. So do not wait. Go and grab your spot now. The link is in the show notes. Head to www.wedcon.co.uk. And yeah, Roxy, to say it there, we are going to be giving you away email templates that we have written and used now for the last, over 10 years, tweaked, changed, and yes, they work and they do stop ghosting. So make sure you're at WedCon if you would like our copy of that. It's not going to cost you anything extra. We're going to be there giving away that all day on the day.
Go and check it out immediately.
Okay, so once you've kind of nailed that first touch in the process and in that inquiry process, you're thinking about what's kind of next. And we look at this in terms of kind of initially a 3-message close.
Okay, so if you've not got a pen and paper already, this is your time to go and grab one. Right, so message 1, fast human reply. Then message 2, 48 hours later, add some value, testimonial, gallery, FAQs. Then message 3, 5 to 7 days later with a warm check-in.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good structure for everyone to just kind of have a baseline in terms of what to do and when. And you can keep going, check in again, better yet, add them to your leads list and automate some things so your email system follows up for you. And this does work. We had this even this week, didn't we?
Yes, we did. So, two of our clients this week, Leslie and Emma, had inquiries that went cold months ago and they kept in touch. And those couples came back to them this week and booked. And that is the power of consistency.
Yeah, and actually, just goes to show that don't write people off because they don't reply straight away. Staying in touch means that when they're ready, you're the one that they think of. And these ladies really thought that those inquiries had gone stone cold. They hadn't heard anything for months and months. And then out of nowhere, they've just come back and booked them. Okay, so the final piece here of the puzzle is really about proof. Couples want to feel safe and secure in choosing you. So, make sure in your process that you're showing them testimonials, that they can easily find testimonials and reviews, that you are talking about any features that you've been shared in, any awards that you've been nominated for. It is award season. Any awards that you've been nominated for or have won. Make sure you're talking about this. These are things that do build trust with your clients.
And there's another thing that you can do here. And again, it's one of those where we've seen our fair share of these, and that is proposals. So, a Word document ain't going to cut it, guys. Like, you need to upgrade your proposals. A lovely branded PDF or clean online proposal feels premium, not a clunky Word document. Like, that is an instant trust killer. Like, get in Canva. It's not going to take you long just to upgrade that part of your strategy. Please.
Yeah, even having some kind of a quick fix, like making an Instagram highlight and having it on your highlights of 3 recent testimonials that you've had can absolutely help. Proof really matters. People need to know, like, and trust you in order to book with you.
Okay, so let's just go over everything that we have covered today. So firstly, it's really important to remember that ghosting is not personal. It's your funnel showing you what to fix.
Yeah. So this week, have a little look and start to track what is happening. Time your replies. How long is it taking you to respond? If it's more than two hours, that's your first tweak. You can set up an autoresponder there as well.
And even just one of these small changes can really make a huge difference in your conversions. And if you do want the full system, the resources and the community to make it even easier, you need to come to WedCon in November.
Yeah, the link for that is in the show notes. We'll look forward to seeing you there.
See you on the next episode.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wed Pro podcast. Full transcribes of this episode, plus every other episode we have done, are available at www.theweddingbusinesshub.com/blogs. Thanks so much for listening. If you do have any questions about this episode or anything else at all, you can email us at info@theweddingbusinesshub.com. And if you are loving our episodes, which I know you are, make sure you hit the subscribe or follow button so you can stay updated with any new episodes that land. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.